We met here. Andrew was apartment shopping, where I was the apartment manager. And he came in and I rented him an apartment. But yeah, it was fun.
Well, I needed an apartment a few years back. Was in a relationship, and so I was looking for a place to stay, and I ended up over in Gretna somehow. It was close to work, actually. It was with MHC Kenworth and Lincoln, so it was a lot closer for me, and that's how we kind of met. I walked in out of the blue and just was like, hey, I'm looking for a place, and what do you got available? The cheaper, the better.
Instantly, I was like, oh, this guy's kind of cute. What's he up to? And he actually was going through a breakup, and that's why he was looking for an apartment. So my first thought was, nope, he's fresh out of a relationship. And right after that was, professionally, I cannot date a resident anyways.
I was like, man, she's cute. She don't have a ring on. Just some signs to me that was like, there's no way that she's single, So it wasn't until the end when I realized, hey, maybe I could reach out to her. I didn't do that till after I had left here and moved to Iowa.
He would send messages occasionally that he wanted to ship his packages here. They didn't want left outside because he didn't actually live at Avenue 204. He lived at another complex down the road, and they would leave them outside. And so I agreed. Go ahead. I don't care. That's fine. Have them shipped here. I'll hold on to them. You can pick them up after work or whatever. But then he would ask me about the restaurants down the street. Have I been there? Have I seen it? Have I ate here? Do I like the food? And I was like, what is this guy messaging me for? This is weird.
It was funny because I actually sent her some flowers, and it was a good gesture, thanking, for everything that they'd done for me and stuff like that.
And I thought, maybe he's into me. But then again, I had to, put that thought away and just, be professional. And I was really short with my answers, and apparently it was kind of his way of, hitting on me. But I wasn't really picking up what he was dropping.
And it was hit and miss because I'd get a real short answer, and I'm like, okay, well, clearly she isn't real interested, so every once in a while I'd shoot her a text message or a message to her saying, hey, why don't you, how's this place? I went there and ate, or I'd mention to her, how good it was and this and that. And it I think it was catching her off guard.
So I didn't know he had put in a notice to vacate. So the assistant manager let me know that apartment was going to be vacant. And I was like, there's no way. I was like, his lease isn't up. What happened? Because he was a really good resident, and he was always friendly, professional, really kind and respectful. So we hate to see those ones go. And I may have thought he was kind of cute, so
I was trying to flirt with her, I guess, a little bit, but in another sense, I was like, okay, well, she's giving me really short answers, so.
He actually messaged me a day or two later and just thanked me for being a good manager and getting everything taken care of and handled that he ever needed as far as maintenance or whatever. And then the day after that, I got beautiful flowers, and that's the way to my heart. Flowers. I love them. That's my love language. So I was like, who told this guy I like flowers? And that's how it all started. We talked nonstop, hours and hours. He worked at 4 a.m, and we would spend from 5:30 when I got off, pulling out of the parking lot. I was on the phone with him every night. And we would talk till 2 a.m. And he'd have to be to work at 4. But we got to know each other really well on the phone for that first month before we got to go on a date.
Well, I actually invited her out there was a concert that was going on and she wasn't able to make that, so I wasn't for sure. And then we ended up having another. I asked her if she wanted to go out to dinner one night, and she, well, we'll say she was 30 minutes late, at least. I think it was more, but you know.
Casio's Steakhouse. I almost didn't go. My grandma talked me out of it. She wanted me to stay and spend some time with her. I thought about canceling, but at the last minute, I decided I was gonna go, and he was already there waiting for me. So I was like 35 minutes late, but I'm glad I went.
I was nervous. I wasn't looking really at the time to get into a relationship. It was 8 months. I wasn't looking to get into one really at all, to be honest with you. But I was like, you know what? Give it a shot. You know, I couldn't believe that she wasn't dating anybody. She wasn't married, nothing.
I knew, like, we really hit all the hot topics. Like, we're not young, so we knew exactly what we were looking for and what we wanted out of life. And we knew what we didn't want. And it flowed so well and everything aligned so perfectly. First, I thought maybe he stalked me very heavily on social media and found all the answers, because there was no way that this person from a completely different lifestyle wanted the same exact things out of life that I wanted. We were both done. Like, we really didn't want to date. We had accepted, like, being single for the rest of our lives, and we were both comfortable with that until we met each other.
It seemed like, which was shocking to me, a lot of things were in common. And it just went really well. So I'm like, okay, well, it just seemed really too good, you know, at the moment.
I knew from the first date. He knew more from like the third, but it was just perfect. The match was there. It was great. There was one thing that we didn't agree on at first, and it was like where to live. You know, he's from small town Iowa, and I'm from Omaha, and I couldn't imagine ever leaving, and he really couldn't imagine like living in the city. But we knocked that out on our second date, and we just knew from the very beginning that it was something that we both wanted. It was unlike anything else. And while we sat in the restaurant, usually like the many years I spent single on first dates, like I'm counting down like, is it time to go? And like we didn't want it to be over. I could have sat there with him all night. The restaurant was closed. Everybody had left and we hadn't even noticed. And my eyes finally came up and looked around and saw there was no one else in the restaurant. And behind me was the owner sitting, and he like told Andrew, like, it's okay, you can stay. But we felt bad about it being closed and just like sitting there. So we decided it was time to leave, but neither one of us really wanted to go.
You know, I had a great time. It was wonderful. And so later down, we went there again. And I was just kind of wasn't sure where things were at, and I wasn't know if I was really ready or not. So we played it safe, I guess, and just kind of went out, just had a good time, you know. But what I definitely needed and what she needed, it seemed, it just hit off that way. And then when I'd go over to her place a few times, and those were late nights. And I'd have to get up really early in the morning, and I still drove clear out to where she was living and back to Iowa. But it was just a good time. And when I met her kids for the first time, it was like a Christmas, I believe, and that was a great time.
It was cool. Yeah. He had called and asked if I could take my lunch break soon. He was off that day, I think. or he was already off work for the day, and he was test driving a car. And so he came out here to Avenue, and we went for a test drive in this beautiful car. And when we had gotten back, I can't remember exactly what he said to me, but he just gave me a tiny little peck, and I came inside, and he had more flowers delivered that were in here in the clubhouse while we were out on this test drive. So he must have just like timed this perfectly, because he knew they were here when we had gotten back, and we were only gone for like 10 minutes on this test drive. And it was a huge thing of mums for my patio at home, and my little Frankie succulent, and I love him. I love my little Frankie. But it was just soft, quick. I was not expecting it at all. So everything that he's done like really took me by surprise up to this point. So yeah, I knew then, I think, for sure.
I think what the most exciting time when I've realized, you know what, this might be the one, is when we went to neighborhood Hillsboro, and we went there for Halloween. That was a good time. And it was kind of like a family thing, and it was awesome. We had a great time. And right then and there, I knew, I was like, okay, you know, this is it. You know, I'm having fun. I love the kids. And we just, like I said, we had so much in common. Everything was right. I decided, you know, let's go at it. Let's do this.
I would say for me, it was probably Halloween. I don't remember if he had met the kids just before Halloween or if that was the first night. I think he met him just before. Okay, so Halloween, I invited him to come trick-or-treating with me and the kids. And I was really nervous about asking him to come with us because he's a grown man. Why does he want to go trick-or-treating? But he passed the test. And like we went costume shopping together, and then we all went trick-or-treating together, and it was so fun, and it was freezing. And he was willing to walk all the way back to our car, even though we were blocks away, to come pick us up so we could drive the rest of the night. And he made it so fun for the kids. They loved it, and they really liked being around him. They had a lot of fun with him. And that was a big sign to me, too, that this guy could be the one. Yep, he's good with the kids. He enjoys Halloween. I love Halloween. It was perfect.
Me. No, without a doubt.
Andrew. I remember when he said it, I had been wanting to say it, but I wasn't sure if I was convincing myself that like I loved him or that I really loved him, because we were still spending hours and hours on the phone with each other every night still. And I remember I was backing into my garage at my old apartment, and he said it, and I didn't want to say it in front of the kids, but they were with me, so I waited for them to get out of the car. So it was like an awkward like pause.
It caught her off guard. And it took her a few seconds to realize what I said.
Once the kids got out of the car, I was like, oh my, I have been wanting to say it. Like, I love you too, but I didn't want to say that in front of the kids because, I don't know, it was such an intimate like moment for a second, and I didn't want them to like ruin it. But I was so relieved that he said it so that I could finally like get that off my chest.
I was skeptical. I didn't know how that would play out, especially, you know, knowing her and the dates, conversations that we had and things like that. I was just hectic about it. But it played off, it went well, you know. So it was a huge moment for both of us, for sure. I would say probably cashews. That was probably best dates that we have had. We have been there a couple different times, but definitely the most memorable date that we've had. I mean, just so much good conversation. So
I think our first one, it was my first time at the restaurant, and our waitress was amazing, and we went out of our way to thank her, and we passed along compliments to the owner of the restaurant because she was fabulous. And we actually booked that restaurant's party room for our rehearsal dinner, and she was there. And so we stopped and said, hello, and told her about how our story has unfolded, that our first date was there. She was our waitress. We're back now, and we have Jasper, and we're having our wedding rehearsal dinner there. And then she had a lot to do with that, because if she had made the experience not so welcoming, maybe we wouldn't have sat there for that long and gotten to know each other that well, and it wouldn't have gone the way that it had we had poor service. We wouldn't have wanted to stay so long. So a little credit is owed to her. Another date, I canceled. I didn't know it was his birthday because we had just started talking, and we were going to Sam Hunt. And I was the one that suggested it, and it was October 1st of 23. But I ended up in the ER that day, and it was not a good idea to try and go to a concert that night. So I felt really, really bad, and he really wanted me to come. I couldn't. I could not go. And I felt terrible for that. And he went by himself, and I felt really bad. I thought for sure, he took someone else. Why wouldn't you? We weren't exclusive to him. I mean, to me, we were exclusive from his notice to vacate, But yeah, he went by himself to the concert, and he had booked us a hotel to stay in afterwards in case we had too much to drink, because he didn't really know at the time that I don't drink at all. So I would have been just fine making it home, but he didn't know that. So he had actually booked us a hotel to stay in downtown, and he had to stay by himself. So that one is date canceled, remembered well. And I feel terrible, and I will spend my lifetime making up for ruining that first birthday together.
I would say her personality. It seems like I said, in the beginning, two different lifestyles. She grew up kind of hood, I guess you can call it, and I was more country, for sure. When I realized what I was walking into, I was like, boy, is this gonna work? Is it gonna clash? And after our first few dates, everything just connected. I mean, we wanted the same thing. She's a great mother. She has raised her kids on her own with her family, with them and their support, and that shows a lot. They're good kids, and it takes a lot to be a single parent. So
I love how he makes me feel safe and protected. I think it's something that I needed. I didn't know I wanted such a, I don't know, not that I didn't want like a manly man, but he is everything I never thought I would be with. And he is somehow everything I was missing. And like, my friends were totally shocked when I started dating this country guy. You know, we're like, he's very like hillbilly-ish compared to us. He's not a hillbilly, but like he does very country things that I didn't know were like things. Like, you know, there's just things he does that I'm like, we're in the city now. You know, we don't do that in the city. But he's just very much himself, and he hasn't changed at all to like be with me, and I haven't had to change at all to be with him. We get to be ourselves 100%, and I love that about him, that he's accepted me for who I am. I don't have to pretend to be somebody else. I don't have to wear a mask, and I never felt appreciated the way that I do with him, with anybody else, and I never thought in a million years that it was possible. It's those things you see in movies, and I get to live it, and it's crazy because I never would have thought that it was going to happen, because it happened late, but that was God's plan. So
When we both realized we could fart around each other. I mean, that's the funniest one I've got. She was so embarrassed when she did it for the first time, but hey, I did too.
he's a talker. There's times that he just doesn't shut up. And everybody knows that about him. Like, he can go on and like talk to anybody and everybody about everything. And sometimes it's like, I don't like, shh, like that enough, you know, like let them move on. You know what I'm saying? Let him move. Like my dad, you know, he'll just go on and on with dad. But I like it at the same time because my family adores him and has accepted him as just another son. So that, the talking, he's never quiet. This is the longest time I've heard him be quiet. I was expecting it almost a year prior. On January 5th, on my birthday, we went to dinner and I thought for sure it was coming on my birthday, and it didn't. So I waited and waited, and then we found out we were having a baby, and I was like, oh, it's definitely coming now. Any day.
It was exciting because I wasn't for the longest time. I wasn't for sure if it was the right moment for myself, and I wasn't for sure if she was quite ready for that.
And it wasn't, and my belly's growing, and I'm like, come on, man, like we're having a baby. Can we make this thing official? And I kept bugging him about it, and a friend of mine had suggested to him that I needed some kind of grand gesture. So I think he felt a lot of pressure to like make it a surprise, but also make it grand, which is impossible because now I'm pregnant. We don't do anything because I was awfully sick my whole pregnancy. So if he was like, get dressed up, we're going to dinner, like it would have just given everything away.
But I knew at the time when I had decided it was time, I was ready. And I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do it just her and I on our own, or if we wanted to do it where or what. And I decided to do it. It was at the house, but I had one of her really good friends that were there.
My mom messaged me and said she was coming to the house for something, but I wasn't ready. I had just showered, so I like threw my pajamas back on, and my hair was a mess. And my best friend messaged me and said she was going to come over and meet Jasper for the first time. And so Jenny and her girls came over, and my mom showed up. And I should have known that something was going on because my mom came over not like in full face of makeup and hair. She doesn't leave the house like that. And her hair wasn't all the way dry and her makeup wasn't all the way on. So I found that to be odd, but I just didn't think anything of it. I don't know why. And the kids come down the stairs and they stand in front of the Christmas tree and said, "Mom, we want Andrew to be our dad." And I was like, I know. They've been telling me for months, that they wanted Andrew to be their dad. And the staircase was like right, I should have been able to see him, but I don't remember seeing him come down the stairs. But I saw him walk in front of me, and I was like, right now I look terrible. And I was just worried about like everybody recording. And so my mom is recording and Jenny's recording, and I'm just bawling like a baby. And I never thought I wanted to get engaged at home in my PJs, because I couldn't, there's no way I'll ever share that moment with everybody. But I couldn't even get the word yes out of my mouth. I couldn't even speak. I was so emotional, just bawling. I did just have a baby.
It was priceless at that moment when I had finally asked her, popped a question. The tears and everything was just I'll never forget it, Maybe not the right time for her because she wasn't ready for everything.
That took me by surprise. And so he doesn't always do it my way. He definitely does things his way, but his way is what surprises me. If he did it my way, I would have seen it coming. So he did it just right, at just the right time. So that's how he got me in the first place. Just timing. Yeah. Andrew, I love you so much. That's no secret. But I am more excited than ever to see how my future unfolds. I'm sure we have so much to look forward to, but I can't wait to see what's to come.
Noelle, this time means so much to me, and taking this step and opportunity to make you my wife forever. You do so much for us that I don't know how I would pay you back for it. My dreams, or our dreams, is to continue to grow this family, raise these kids well, and get the place of our dreams, and travel some more. And I hope that we all stay healthy and live our lives. I wanted to reach out to everybody, say thank you for coming. We are happy to take this step and have you all here with us. Give a shout out to Sam, finally got it done.
I just want to thank everybody for coming and celebrating the beginning of our love story tonight. And thank you to Jenny for being the most amazing. matron of honor and putting up with me through this whole process, because it's not been super easy. But thank you to all the bridesmaids and the mothers for all of your support, and the kids for letting me put everything off while we've been going through this. So it's time to make up for some events missed, but we're gonna make up for it now. Poor kids.
To my family, Noelle's family, I love you. Thank you for everything, you guys. Let's party.